Maybe it's effective.
Welcome, everyone. We will call this meeting to order. Mission statement: Allendale Public Schools commit to educate, inspire, and support all students. Amy, you got the roll call? All set. If you'd all please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag's right over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our statement of commitment. Josh?
Principle 3.7, the board shall encourage and support administration to be adequately informed concerning state and national educational trends and developments.
Public participation process. Members of the audience are welcome to make comments at the time designated on the agenda. Please register down there on the sign-up sheet and limit your comments to 3 minutes when your name is called. With 1 minute left, Anna will give you the 1 minute sign or say 1 minute, and she will say time when your 3 minutes has expired. Out of respect for all individuals, please refrain from personal criticisms in an open forum. Make your comments to the board or to the chair. And if you need to reference anything, it's per policy, Allendale Policy 167.3. And next we have the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support. Passes as, any debate? We can, so we will then go to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Agenda passes as written. Next on the list is our organizational meeting review. And we have National School Board Leadership Council that was postponed from the last meeting and postponed into this meeting. I would like to have a motion to dismiss the membership with National School Board Leadership Council. Can I have a motion?
Yeah. Corey, I make a motion that Allendale Public Schools does not consider membership with the National School Board Leadership Council.
Support.
Okay. Any discussion?
So I think this is just going back. I think this is the right decision for our school, but I also think that this is just an important reminder that our board respects one another and gives each other enough time to fully vet things like this instead of a short notice, because this could have squeaked through last month, and I think we all recognize that it shouldn't. So I'd just like to point out that that would be very helpful for our board to function properly, making sure we have notice.
Thank you, Kim. All right, I'll move to vote. All in favor of dismissing the National School Board Leadership Council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, say the same. All in favor, say the same.
Opposed?
Opposed.
All opposed, say the same. Motion passes to dismiss National School Board Leadership Council. With that, we also have some unfinished business with appointing delegates for the MASB. Do I have any volunteers? I know Hannah is not here. She's been our representative in the past. Any other?
I think Pam would stay on, so I nominate Pam.
Second.
Support.
Support.
Any other?
I can do it as well.
Kim? Okay.
And I will volunteer to be an alternate.
Kevin for an alternate. And I will volunteer to be an alternate also. I can, same. Anyone else?
Let me make a motion to, I'll make a motion to have Kim and Pam as MASB delegates and Corey and myself as alternates.
Second.
Seconded by Anna. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same. Delegates, as noted, passes. Amy, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Amy, go ahead and pass that down. We will review and initial as we go.
We need to make a motion.
Someone needs a motion for consent agenda.
Corey, we'll need to make a motion.
At the end, right? No, I need a motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion by Kevin, supported by Liz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same.
You need to initial that, Anna. Anna, your copy, you have to initial and put them back in there. You have to initial each one and then place it back in the envelope.
Initial.
Sign
I think you just initial.
I got initial it.
Date.
it. Initial and date.
Just initial date. No, we're not putting it back. We just put it in the date.
Right, that's right. Thank you. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you. Might be hard to hold space this size.
All right, next on the agenda, we have our educational highlights. Aaron Overmeyer. And team.
My name is Erin, and I am a high school art teacher and the visual arts department chair. I'm Emily Miller. I teach art at ECC in Evergreen, Young Fives, kindergarten and first grade.
I'm Danny Suey. I teach first through third at Evergreen. Leslie Roberts. I teach 6th through 8th at the middle school.
Taylor Zimmerman. I teach 4th and 5th grade here at Oakwood.
Come every year to initially to talk about our attendance at the Michigan Art Education Association Fall Conference that the district funds for us. So this year, Emily, you want to explain your role?
I had the opportunity and the challenge of being a co-chair for the Michigan Art Education Association Fall Conference this year. Every year it takes place. Over the past few years, obviously we have had a challenge with being virtual and in person. This year we were able to have it back in person fully, and we had it in Grand Rapids at the Amway Grand Hotel. We brought in 361 art teachers from around the state of Michigan, and it was amazing. All of our team was able to go. Let me see what else I have in my notes here. The theme was the grand experience, engage, explore, and envision, because we wanted a lot of people to come to Grand Rapids and experience Grand Rapids for what we love. So we wanted it to be grand. Our kickoff event, can I change the slide? Never mind, I'll follow up later.
And I was the awards committee co-chair this year, which I'll continue to be, but I was in charge of student scholarships, professional development grants, the art education student sponsorships, and the pre-service art education volunteers. And then I also was an artist in the artisan market.
I had the opportunity to present a lesson that I do with our students to other teachers throughout the state, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Erin and I led kind of an open forum session for teachers to just bring issues that they might have in their districts and to kind of brainstorm together how to solve them.
Taylor's brand new here this year, and she went, and she got lots of new ideas.
So on our conference is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on Thursday night we had our kickoff welcome reception at GVSU at the Calder Arts Center. We try to work really collaboratively with them. They have 42 art education students, which is amazing and unheard of right now. Because a lot of programs are being cut, which is really sad. So we want to be able to collaborate with them as much as possible. As you can see, one of Erin's student assistant currently right now is a GVSU student that was at the conference, and she was, when I saw that picture, I was like, that person was amazing. She was an amazing helper. So we are really grateful to work with GVSU and have them partner with us to be leaders in art education. Leslie and Danny together, and this is the MAEA president's welcome address. The president, Annie Howard, is from the east side of the state. She's just an amazing human being, and she works so hard to bring everyone together. And so this was her welcome address for everyone at the conference. And overall, as some of our amazing educators were presenters as well, there was 96 workshops and presentations, including hands-on workshops to bring back ideas to their classrooms.
I went specifically to a workshop about using encaustic, which is like painting with wax, and learned a bunch of stuff and brought it back and did it right away with my Art 3 students. So those of you that make it to the high school art show, you'll get to see some of the results of that.
Part of my role as co-chair was finding keynotes and speakers and bringing them to Grand Rapids, and some of the major ones that we had were Kevin Camerad, which you might know. He does a lot of work with KDL, but he's a puppeteer and an author, an illustrator, an amazing human being. And Melissa Purdy, who is an art educator and also author and illustrator. Another one who's not pictured here is Tracy Van Duinen, who is a muralist. He's an art teacher out of Chicago currently, but he went to Kendall from Grand Rapids, and you would recognize his artwork as the mosaic on the side of the Children's Museum.
All right, and so my presentation was no clay, no problem. Some of you know I'm basically allergic to life. If your student had me, they know this. So instead of actually having clay in the classroom, which in some scenarios the district doesn't have the funding for it, again, we have allergies, whatever it might be, I have had to create an entire program that is using recycled materials to create sculptures. And so this one specifically, we focused on using cardboard and glue. We have an abundance of that, you guys. And so I showed them it can be something so simple to use the techniques that you're going to do with clay, but do it in a material that is probably just going to end up in the trash anyway. So why not reuse it? We're teaching about, renewable sources and so on. And the cool thing is so many art educators came, they signed up, and then the room ended up being packed because they just kept hearing from other people like, hey, that one was pretty cool, and guess what? I could start it tomorrow. And the other great thing is with social media, I've already seen so many teachers tag me in using it and doing the project, and they were just so in love. And it's not just for middle school, it has ranged from K all the way up to 12th grade. So it's pretty cool to share what we're doing here around the state. Thank you.
This year at the Fall Conference, they did a sort of unique thing to include sales by artist teachers. So I was one of the booths selling my artwork. It was like at the very end during the final night gala. And as always, every year, and we saw some of you there, we do a Y5 through 12th grade winter art show. So there's our poster from this year and just some pictures from the night that I'll just go through. And for the last several years, we've done live music. So this year, our live music was from Ryan Brandon, who's a high school music student. And he played the piano, we had refreshments, and we had a button making factory second year in a row because it was so popular last year. Continued to be popular this year, and it was manned by our high school art student volunteers. So this year we made a department goal to try and use the windows more effectively in the Fine Arts Center. The windows didn't have lights before, so they were kind of hard to use outside of school time because you just couldn't see what was in the windows. So this year we asked if they could install lighting in there. So huge thanks to Gary Torno, Travis Webeke, and Kathy Anderson for getting lights installed for us. And this has allowed us to have work in there that rotates through the different grade levels. So right now we have ECC art in there, we've had high school art, and we've had middle school art, and then next month it'll be Oakwood and then Evergreen. So outside pictures where you could see where they were lit up, and then this is just from the inside. You can see some of the work. And that's, I think, our current ECC work right now. And then we have a save the date for everybody if you would like to come to our spring shows. So there are the dates. If you want to save them, take a picture with your phone or something. They're all there for you. And then we have a special guest here with us tonight. And it's Paige Kirby. So every year the high school enters art in the Regional Scholastic Awards competition. And so we entered many pieces, and we had 2 pieces by the same person, Paige. Win gold keys, and gold keys are the highest level awards that you can get at the regional competition. So her 2 pieces, so you can see the hands one and the Coca-Cola sign, those both earned gold keys. And I always try to emphasize with everybody how competitive our region is. It's very large. It goes all the way to Traverse City and all the way to Saginaw. It's like a very odd-shaped district, but it includes, so it's super competitive, and it includes a application portfolio-based art boarding school, Interlochen Academy, that some of you might be familiar with. People come from all over the world. Their parents are artists. It's a very, very hard school to get into, and so we're competing with some pretty high-level schools, and Paige got 2 gold keys, which is awesome. So her work will be automatically entered in the National Scholastic Competition in New York City, and we'll hear back regarding that sometime in the spring. And then, so we would just like to thank the board and Dr. Cooper and Mindy Westra and our principals for supporting us and always being committed to the role that art plays in schools. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will be moving on to our public comment portion. And first on the list is Amanda Jones.
All right, good evening. My name is Amanda Jones, and I teach music here at Oakwood Intermediate School. And I just wanted to thank the community and our board for your commitment to providing music education to all the students here at APS. It's an immense privilege to participate in the development of our students as whole people. I could review all the concerts and festivals and competitions that we're involved in, but I know all that's on the website and has been part of letters and stuff home, so I won't do that. I just want to highlight some of the things that don't make it into newsletters or headlines. There are a few programs within our district that more clearly support the social and emotional learning of our students than do the music programs. It's wonderful to see and hear the musical excellence of our performances, but it's even more thrilling to watch how these students interact as human beings. These are a few of their examples of growth. Our students demonstrate the ability to self-regulate their behavior in public and pressurized environments. They enter and exit performance venues with discipline and preparation. They move past errors and continue with a performance. They maintain respectful behavior even when not actively engaged in a particular performance. And at a time in our society where disrespect and disregard is common in public interactions, our students have learned to exhibit respectful decorum and regard for each other. The students are also supportive of each other within their strengths and weaknesses. It's not uncommon to observe students subtly pointing out a place in the score that another student needs to follow. Eye contact between the performers to make sure the whole group stays in sync. 9 and 10 years old, daring to stand in front of 400 people and share the song or talent that they've prepared. A student performing a piece of music with unadulterated joy and enthusiasm. While learning to play instruments or use their voices in new ways, students learn how to be teachable, humble, tenacious, and persistent. And they do all of this learning in an amazing context of community. They enrich their hearts and minds as they create music rather than just consume it. There is an inherent aspect within music education that promotes a sense of community and provides an opportunity for feeding the human soul through music creation and performance. So, just again, I want to thank and give a shout out to the board and to all of the Allendale community for your support of the APS music programs K-12. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Next on the list, Rebecca Patrick.
Good evening. I'm Rebecca Patrick. I live here in Allendale, and we've recently moved to this community, probably within the last 3 years or so. I don't have school-age children anymore. I've never had children in the Allendale Public Schools, but I am a huge supporter of public school education, and that's why I'm here this evening. My original intent in coming here to speak with you this evening was to address the issue that you've already addressed in your agenda, which was the National School Board Leadership Council, and to try to help you reach the conclusion that you already did, which is that you do not want to be a part of that group. So I'm very thankful that you did reach that conclusion, and I thank you for reconsidering that decision because I think it was very wise. And it sounds like you're going ahead with joining the Michigan Association of School Boards, which again I believe is a wise decision. So I thank you for that. So what I'd like to do instead then is kind of switch my comments on the fly, which is always a dangerous thing to do. But since I have a couple more minutes, I'm going to do it. And to talk maybe with you a little bit about the issue of trust. And I really encourage any governing body, of which I've been a part of several times myself, to run its decisions and its behavior through the sieve and through the matrix of how is this going to build trust with the people that I serve? How is it going to build trust with the broader community? How is it going to build trust with the people who work here? How is it going to build trust with the people that pay taxes in this area? And I would encourage you to work toward that in every decision that you make. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Next on the list is Ruth Crow. I may steal some of her thunder here, but she's a previous Allendale grad and member of our Hall of Fame here at Allendale.
My name is Ruth Crow, and I'm an alum of Allendale High School, and I am a member of the Allendale High School Hall of Fame. I was lucky to be surrounded with a great group of females, a few of them are here tonight, that love sports, who went on to bring Allendale its first state championship in any sport in 1977. I went on in life to achieve the highest of standards. I defended our country as a member of the U.S. Army, and I served my community as a police officer with the LAPD. And I was going to list all my other accomplishments here tonight, but I realized that I am a person of value, and I don't need to provide to you or anyone a resume to prove I'm worthy to speak. I read two disturbing articles today in the Washington Post and the New York Times. Nearly 3 in 5 teenage girls feel persistent sadness. 1 in 3 girls seriously consider suicide, the highest in a decade. There is currently a nationwide epidemic of depression and anxiety among teenagers. Art can be so helpful to these kids to express themselves and possibly reduce some of that stress. It is just one tool to offer them. But I was recently informed that school officials stated that I was not welcome at the school to help with programming for an art workshop, for no other reason except that I am gay. And as usual with bigotry, irrelevancy is made to seem relevant. The art workshop and my coming into the school was to help students and to hopefully provide a potential tool to learn how to handle life's challenges. My art workshop offered journaling and mixed media as a creative outlet for expression, the same tool that I've used throughout my whole life. I'm not here to influence anyone's sexual or gender identity. I want all kids to grow up being able to handle failure and develop resilience, regardless of who they are or how they feel like outcasts in their own community due to the color of their skin, their sexuality, or differing religious beliefs. Due to the decision of my not being welcome here at the school that I represented with such pride and success, I would like to now withdraw my name permanently from the Allendale High School Hall of Fame. The school does not have the right to hold me up on one hand as a pillar of pride and push me down with the other hand as a pillar of shame. I am deeply saddened about this experience, but it only serves to prove the relevancy of my art project called the Journal Project. My wish is that my school would one day welcome me home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Holly Nice.
Hello, I'm Holly Nice, and I'm a parent of a 5-year-old in the district. Some of this is a moot point now, but I still think it's important to talk about. My son has an IEP and has been receiving services for a couple of years now. He's grown leaps and bounds in his time and continues to make gains every day. We've been so happy with the services he has received at the ECC. Everyone we've come into contact with has been wonderful, from his special education team to the principal, support staff, and his teachers. I never expected that teachers would love my son so much. I could get emotional about it. But they do. They're his biggest cheerleaders, and as parents, we couldn't be happier. As a side note, please pay them more when the time comes. They really, really deserve it. Thank you for allowing more time to make a decision on leaving the MASB and moving to the NSBLC. The NSBLC does not believe in the kind of services my son receives, and being part of an organization that does not support kids like him would be detrimental to his continued growth. Not only would my child be impacted, but many, many other kids as well. I have a huge concern with the quick decisions this board is pushing through. If you had voted on joining the NSBLC instead of tabling the decision, you wouldn't be able to hear from parents about their concerns. And some of you ran on a platform of parental rights. However, this was the only item you tabled, and it was only by one vote. It is so scary how close APS was to joining that extreme organization. Please let this be a lesson. Please respect your board members, parents, teachers, and community members by putting things on the agenda, giving time for research and time to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Ronnie Allen.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Allen. Earlier today I was thinking, why do I care about Allendale Public Schools and this board? I care because I care about my own kids, their friends, the community, and the schools, not just now, but for the future. Good teachers are vital to this. In order for any employer to flourish in a free society, employees must be satisfied and feel valued. Otherwise, they'll leave. And for public education to work, at its heart, it depends on good, solid teachers doing their job well. They need to feel valued. Satisfaction surveys are the best pathway to that. I've worked for many different companies over the years, and I've completed many surveys. I don't think I've ever missed an employee satisfaction survey, despite at times doubting how much my opinion mattered. Even when employers knew the survey results were not going to be great, the surveys were always sought after. Like it or not, employee input is part of the gig. In places that I have worked, both large and small, surveys are not only offered, they are promoted. There have even been drawings to promote them. Employers desire participation, even if the goal is positive feedback more than honesty. Even at times when morale is low and I've slightly scoffed at the value of my input, I complete them. Maybe that's not surprising to many of you. But even this shallower goal to get positive results is at least still an effort forward. It expresses value to employees. Respect and appreciation for honest feedback and a supportive, affirming response by leadership combine to make a better work environment. However, even without that, the safe space of a survey is invaluable. The anonymity allows for honest expression, even when there is strife. Teachers and faculty have a far more public relation position than nurses like me. So it's even more important for our teachers to be able to have regular surveys so that they can be honest without fear of retaliation. In small towns like Allendale, teachers cannot talk about their employer or their job concerns and expected to be kept on the down low, unlike in bigger towns or in other jobs. Just venting about their jobs might affect the relationships that they have with students and families, relationships that are vital for them to have for the entire year. I have concern that these surveys are not being done consistently in Allendale. Our teachers need to feel more valued and heard. The results can be used by this board and administration, who then, driven by a sense of service, can continue to cultivate a positive work environment that promotes excellence. I strongly encourage this board to make sure that thorough, confidential employee surveys become routine.
You, Ronnie. Emily Underhill.
Hi, I'm Emily Underhill from Allendale. I didn't have much prepared today, but based on the last meeting, when you guys were speaking about the policy where it didn't allow teachers to speak to any school board members, I was very shocked to hear that. That doesn't seem right to me. It seems like teachers should be trusted to talk to whomever they feel they should about issues that are coming up. So I would like to see that changed. That's just very concerning to me. And I also just want to mention that I was a high school art student as well. I went on to college for art. And I'll just say that when I was in school, art was not political. It wasn't pushed in that manner. It was about the color wheel. It was about graphic forms, typography, moving on to a bunch of digital stuff as well. So that's changed over the years. I just want to state that. And then also just want to say congratulations to Paige on your awards. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina DeVries.
Hi, my name is Tina DeVries. I have 4 kids. My oldest is a sophomore at Allendale High School, and I homeschool my other 3 children who are 8th grade, 6th grade, and 4th. And I have a quote that I wanted to share. It says, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." This was by Edmund Burke. What comes to mind when reading this is thinking back to where we were a couple years ago when it was discovered our school administrators, some teachers, counselors, and school board were overstepping parental rights. I just want to say that I'm grateful to the good men and women who stood up against the sexual and political indoctrination that had quietly infiltrated our small community. It's all about our kids and their protection. They are the only thing that matters. And as a parent, I'm thankful to know that in Allendale, parental rights are now protected, especially with the amazing people placed on our school board. So speaking directly to the school board, I believe that God has amazing plans for you all and know that you have a community's support, not only based on the presence here, but also in prayer. As my homeschool director says, we are raising the next leaders. How powerful is that? We are raising the next leaders of this country. Let's get the school back to teaching reading, writing, math, science, history, and critical thinking like they were created to. Let's allow parents to teach morality and decency as they were created to. Let's unite in protecting kids as the community was created to. We're not going to ever agree on everything, but we should all be able to agree that our kids deserve protection and schools should never overstep their authority again. We must stay vigilant, and the fight for saving our next leaders will never end. My prayer is that God would keep His protection over this county and that His presence in this room would be so powerful that it is felt by all of us. Thank you for your time. God bless.
Thank you, Tina. Lauren Allen.
Hi. I just wanted to come up here and say thank you to those of you on the board who have been willing to step up and fight for our community. These past few years have exposed numerous issues within the school system, and you guys saw those issues and decided to take action. And I'm so thankful, and I feel very blessed to look up there and see some friendly faces. I also wanted to address a comment that I heard at the last meeting about how some people on this board don't even have their kids in the public schools, and that that's somehow dishonest or disloyal. But I just wanted to say that if anything, it shows that you're willing to take action. If you don't like what's going on, what's being taught in the school, you'll pull them out and do it yourself until you can be confident in the schools again. Because a lot of people can't afford to homeschool or don't have the time, and they should be able to send their children to the public schools and be confident in their education. So thank you all for being willing to fight for what you believe in and what the community who elected you believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Krista Yatsky.
Hi, I'm Krista. Thank you for the work that you've done so far. I want to encourage this new board to look into the classroom books. There are classroom books that are obscene, sexually graphic, and disturbing. How do these themes support what students are here to learn? English, science, math, reading. The books currently on the shelves, are they really what Allendale wants to say that we teach and promote? Is it the intent of this school to take away the innocence of our students? Parents have trusted that their students were learning what they did, the core subjects, with no agendas or inappropriate content. As was said so well at a previous meeting, that parent trust has been abused. Obscene material cannot be justified in the classroom. There not only needs to be criteria for new books coming in, but every book on every shelf in every building needs to be gone through and held to the same standard of decency. If it sounds overwhelming to go through every book in the school, ask for help. I, for one, would volunteer my time without hesitation. Our kids' innocence is precious. Once it's destroyed, you can't get it back. The longer you wait to do this, the more students are being exposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Alexa Lee.
Hello, I'm Alexia Lee. I'm a teacher here at APS, as well as a parent to a 5 and a 7-year-old kindergarten and first grade. And I just wanted to share with you a conversation that we had for dinner this evening. I told my kids that they could go play at a neighbor's house, and but that Dad was in charge because Mom had to go to a board meeting. In which case my youngest said, "What's a board meeting, Mom?" And my oldest replied, "Well, of course, it's a meeting that you go to and you get bored." And I said, "Close." And my husband responded, "No, honey, that's all meetings. It's not just board meetings." But we talked about what a board meeting was and how there was a Board of Education that led Dr. Cooper, in which my oldest said, "Yeah, they tell Dr. Cooper what to do, and then Dr. Cooper tells all the administration, or the principals what to do, and then they tell the teachers, and then the teachers tell the students." I said, "Yeah, basically that's what happens." But we talked about some of the decisions that could possibly be made tonight. I am very honest and open with my kids, and I don't shelter them. And they are still innocent, but they know what's going on. And we talked about how there was a possible decision being made about kids being excluded for having an IEP, or for speaking a different language, or just not learning the same way. My kindergartner then looked at me and said, "Mom, I don't write really well. Are they going to kick me out of my class?" And I said, "No, honey, absolutely not." But then we talked about some of our friends, like Eddie, who my kids love and adore, or some of the kids in their class that have thrown chairs and that have had really tough days. And we talked about how they never wanted those kids to leave their rooms. They want them to stay there, because as much as they might have a hard day, they're still their peers, and they love them, and they adore them. Please keep that in mind when you go further in making decisions. that all these kids are different. I see kids that are excelling all the way down to the ones that I've got to pull nail and tooth to get them to where they're at today. They're different, and they're supposed to be. Please don't exclude any of them that are having problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Lexa. Scott McDonald.
I don't think I actually need this, but we'll use it anyhow, so thank you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Scott McDonald. I've been on the board here over 15 years, graduated from Allendale High School. I'm also in the Allendale High School Hall of Fame, which is where Ruth was. I have three grandkids in the ECC building. I'd like to thank the teachers and the parents and the grandparents of kids that go to schools here and support the schools. Very much appreciated. My concern is, number one, you guys, as a board, you have taken one action tonight that negated something that was of great concern to me. However, I still feel that with the attorney group that you've looked to represent, I'm very concerned about the Coleman Forum and never having school experience, especially in very specific areas. What is this going to end up costing the schools over a period of time? In addition, some discussions have been had about looking at curriculum changes promulgated by the board, specifically the 1776 curriculum from Hillsdale College. I trust that you have a degree in curriculum before you've went through the 3,268 pages of that curriculum and try and understand what it actually means. These are discussions that may have been held prior to some individuals coming into the board area. There's still some discussion on whether the Open Meetings Act may have been violated, and I hope it wasn't, but I'm very nervous about what's happening for this school and for this district. You need to learn to trust your superintendent, you need to learn to trust each other, but some of you blew that before you ever walked in the meeting, and that makes me sad. In addition, I do hope you build that back up. I hope you make sure that appropriate leadership is in position to lead the board so that you are supporting all of the community, not just individual members of the community that squeak louder than others, but you support everybody. With that, thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Scott. Janine?
Thank you, Scott. I totally agree with what you had to say just then. Good evening. My name is Janine Gasper. I am a parent to two current students at APS, one current exchange student from Australia, one APS grad, and 6 former exchange students. According to Ottawa Impact, it is my natural, fundamental right as a parent and legal guardian of current APS students to help determine and direct their care, teaching, and education of my children. As far as I am aware, only 3 current board members have students enrolled at APS. It is clear that 3 of you have aligned with the public policy agenda for Ottawa Impact with literally 0 personal consequences when it comes to your own children. As a mom of a current APS student and an ally of our teachers and students, regardless of their race, gender, ethnicity, or economic status, I ask that you seriously begin to consider what the parents of actual students at APS determine is most effective and helpful for directing care, teaching, and education to every student in our schools. This is not a Christian school. This is a public school. With that in mind, I would appreciate if the school board would publicly apologize to our current LGBTQ students for allowing an adult to throw names at them at the last school board meeting. The fact that nothing was said to the man who stood up and equated some of our students with hateful nonsense and radical claims is unacceptable. We do have LGBTQ+ students at our schools, and I'm sick of watching you guys ignore it. Also, in light of the recent FOIA release, I wanted to address comments made by our board members behind closed doors. One of our board members shared that they had reviewed the personal reports from the last year and found that in that time, there were 40 resignations and 7 retirements. I took the time to look up the retention rates of our schools. The latest data showed that our schools retain teachers at a rate of between 81 and 94%, which trended higher than both similar schools and the state of Michigan average. 40 resignations amongst 5 schools averages out to about 8 staff per school. Without more information, we don't know the reasons why these teachers or staff left. Teachers leave schools for all kinds of reasons. What was incredibly concerning about the exchange between these two members was that one said, "We can add more fuel to the fire." And one said, "What did Troy have to say? Was he questioned?" As if it's somehow his fault alone. As board members, you should be more concerned with why teachers may be leaving than pinpointing fault on one person in particular. I'm a former teacher. I left both teaching at the high school and university levels for numerous reasons, not just one individual. The most enticing is usually a pay increase to support my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Carissa?
That's all. Hi. I just want to say thank you for what you guys are doing.
Pull the microphone down a little bit. Just pull this, there you go.
I'm a little short, sorry.
There you go.
I just want to say thank you for what you guys have been doing. I know there's an intense amount of pressure on you guys, and I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys stepping into the line of fire and protecting our children. And I just want to let you guys know that we are supporting you in your decisions, and we know that, you know, you're human and you might not make every decision perfectly, but we appreciate you guys doing the best that you can and acting in wisdom. And I just want to share this prayer from Colossians. It says, "I pray that you'll be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that you may walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing him, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power, for all patience and long-suffering with joy, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified us to be partakers of the light and the inheritance of the saints. He has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us into the kingdom of the Son of his love." And I just thank you so much for what you guys have been doing, and I pray that you will continue to act as you know is right. Thank you.
Thank you, Carissa. That concludes our public comment portion. You will meet. The time limit was up to sign up. Sorry, sir. Right. You allow that? Yeah? You have always allowed? Okay. New guy mistake. Apparently, we've allowed it in the past, so you're welcome to the microphone. Sorry about that, sir. And this is Wes?
Wesley.
Wesley, thank you.
Thank you for remembering. Hi, my name is Wesley. I was today 8 years old when I found out Oakland gym is not the same gym as the one in Aldo High School, so apologies for being late. So I came to the last Board of Education meeting after hearing about how some decisions were made. Some of these decisions I disagree with, but the community stood up for what's right, and I take great pride in that. I take great pride in the swift action that was taken by the Board of Education as well. You have responded to the community, you have shown you're willing to listen, and you started on the path to prove that you will do what's best for the students, regardless of your personal political belief. I thank you for that, and I am hopeful that you will continue down this path. There are, however, some thoughts that were presented by members of the board that I know to be misguided. I know it because I lived it, and that's the idea that diversity is divisive, or rather, the idea of separation versus inclusion. Let's start with an example that we're all too familiar with, the National School Board Leadership Council. For a quick refresher, the NSBLC stated that their vision was to create an exceptional educational program. This program, however, explicitly excludes non-English speakers and any non-abled person. Public comment after public comment, we've heard stories of parents whose children have autism and other disorders. We heard about how their children are strong and exceptional, how they're funny and kind, how they inspire. Yet the world, even before the suggestions to join the nsblc, made life for these families exceptionally difficult. Now these families are told from the highest level that the kids are not wanted in the schools they attended for their entire lives. That is divisive. Separation is divisive. The sigh of relief we heard from them once the decision was overturned stemmed from inclusion, from embracing kids who are not neurotypical and acknowledging their needs are different and the solutions they need are different, and most importantly, that those students are worth the specific support they need. This is diversity and the wonderful outcomes when we pursue it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion affects all of us. It's not simply about race or gender or sexual orientation. It's about ensuring all needs are met regardless of what they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Wesley. Does that conclude our public comments? Okay. Committee reports. SCAB?
Nothing to report.
Superintendent's report?
Yeah, it's a busy week for us. We have parent-teacher conferences this week, tomorrow and Thursday, and then no school on Friday. I do want to point out that our work session on the 27th and the March board meeting will be in the Fine Arts Center. We'll be back there. We're here tonight because there's a middle school concert going on this evening. And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. We'll move on to board comments. Kim, you have the floor.
Yes, I would like to thank the art department for coming in and giving us an update and being leaders not just within our community but statewide as well. So thank you very much. Congratulations, Paige. Those were just amazing pieces. I was blown away when I got Mrs. Overmeyer's email and saw those. Another thing I was hoping, so I had a lot of people ask about the agenda being a little different from what we get versus what is posted. Can we mirror those? Because I think there was just some confusion as to, some of the things that we were going through tonight not being on the agenda. And so, there's just so much more detail on what we have. Can we mirror those?
It's not typically done. There's often confidential information that's shared with the board in these agendas. So we typically don't do that. I know that's come up in other districts as well, and from what I hear from other superintendents, that's just not standard practice.
If there's anything that we're voting on, I think that should be in there. I mean, it was specifically, there were just a lot of questions around the organizational meeting review, and it says on ours NSBLC, but I didn't see it on the publicly posted one. And I had some community members ask, is that going on? And I said, well, we tabled it for 30 days, so I think it is.
Yeah.
And that's, Corey, why I called you and you, Dr. Cooper, because I had so many people ask.
Yeah, so it was a little confusing on that because we wound up leaving it in that area because that's where it was on the last meeting agenda. That's the exact same location, so we decided to leave it there because it was the same stuff, and we still voted on it in that meeting, so we decided to do that again here. So that's why I got a little off.
Yep, I totally get that. In the future, can we make sure that, just so everyone knows, like we haven't tabled anything like that before, so I know that's new. But in the future, can we add it too, so people maybe have a more clear understanding of what we're discussing? And then, I believe Anna brought this up before on some people would like to see some more of the information around just some of the things that are that are on these, and I know that we do have to keep some things private, but could they go to the website? Can they email you with that, or how does that work?
In terms of getting the information that's shared with the board?
Yeah.
I mean, if they had specific questions, I would answer as best I can.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I want to make sure that we give everyone enough opportunity to really see what is on the agenda instead of just an abbreviated version.
Is it possible to just post like the background information with it? Because that seems, or is that what you're thinking might be confidential, Garth?
Yeah, that's typically where you can run into some trouble. I mean, it's not often, but there are times that there is confidential information in there. I think, what we put out for the public talks about the issues that will be discussed. So the background is just the information for you to consider, but I think the public still has the information they need to know what will be discussed.
And I remember just going back, I don't know if this was last year before, but we approved the repaving of the high school, and we were adding a sidewalk in, and nobody really knew. The board knew, because we all got a picture of it, but nobody else really knew what it was going to look like and how it was going to be. And that's a very simple, maybe silly example, but that is the type of thing that I think as a board we could consider maybe opening up.
So could we leave things that are confidential on the attachments?
We could take a look at doing that, sure. If that's what the board wants to do.
Would that be?
Yeah, we'll definitely, yeah, we can.
I mean, I don't know what information's in here that,
I mean,
So as you're
people
setting.
want to
your-
read 2 pages versus 6 pages, I don't care how much time you want to spend.
and we did make some modifications, right? Like, so when we had policy updates, we started putting a link underneath the agenda, so the policy updates were there. When we had board adoptions, we put a link for the board adoptions. So we've been sharing quite a bit of information.
Okay.
It's your agenda, your meeting, so.
Yeah. We'll definitely take a look at that. So as we go through as board members, setting the agenda, what do we want to get done? How do we go about it? And the rigors of going through it, and then we'll have to take our hat off and say, okay, which one is going out to the public? And say, are they getting enough information? If I read this, do I truly know what's going on? Yeah, definitely, Kim.
Are you good? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm good.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I don't want to steal your thunder.
Liz?
Thanks, Corey. Paige, congratulations. That was awesome. I do want to say that the window lights were pretty cool in the building, and thank you, Mrs. Miller in particular, for Jackson and his art piece, because that was pretty cool. I took him up the other night, and you could have thought that he was in a museum. He was so unbelievably excited. So I just thought that was pretty neat. And then in reference to, the vote we took tonight, I understand that, there's definitely some things that were pretty rushed and not necessarily intended to be rushed. It was intended to be part of the organizational meeting, but I also do appreciate the vote of the board to postpone things, because there's certainly things that came to light that were not known prior to. So there's a lot of learning that happened, and, publicly apologize for attempting to rush anything that was not the intention. So we definitely learned a lot and took a lot of the comments and the feedback, and we'll take those to the working meetings and be better in the future. So I appreciate the participation. This is one of the largest groups, especially over the last couple of months, that we've had from the community. So I also appreciate the respectful comments. Those are really helpful for growth for the community. So thanks.
Yeah, also congratulations to Paige, and it's exciting to see our art staff being involved in a conference like that. I know it's a cool thing to see Allendale on in them chairs and co-chairs, and being a leader in a community. I appreciate the public comment and everybody coming out, and this is correctly your school. It's your community, and I encourage everybody to come out and voice their opinion. Whether somebody else agrees with it or not, it is your right to come here, and it's great to see as many coming out as they are. And that's all I got. Thank you.
I want to congrats Page 2. Your artwork was phenomenal. It looks so real. Just incredible. You have a gift. And also, we talked about policy 3112 at our last working meeting, and we are still in process of drafting this policy to bring as a recommendation to the board, and we will have one come our next working meeting on February 27th. And just some background information on this, for those of you that were not there, our employee handbook in this policy states that all communication from staff is final and stops at the superintendent, and the purpose, I think, is to create accountability and an open door for teachers and staff to communicate with the board as long as they've gone through the chain of command. So that's all that I got.
I don't have anything.
Well, I thought the art presentation was awesome. To comment on what they said, and Paige, what they said, great stuff. Can't wait to see what happens in New York with you. Good luck. Good luck. I would like to make a comment on some things coming up here in our agenda about our robotics team. I would just like to make a shout out to leader there, Chad Patinsky, who puts in tireless hours, his own personal money, takes his pay and gives back to our robotics. He runs 5 to 6 teams every year, and he's been doing it for 10 plus years. So any of you that know Chad or have been involved with anything he's doing, please give him a tip of the cap. He's doing good work, as is our art department. All right, so that will move us on to our action items. Item A. Could I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the work-based learning agreement for high school students, including the pilot for second semester as presented.
Support.
Kevin.
Yeah, so the ISD Career Line Tech Center has been having conversations with locals throughout the county about this, and work-based learning for those of us who are of a certain age is co-op. And what it is it gives students an opportunity to earn high school graduation credit while being in an employment setting and learning a skill. The nice thing about the ISD taking this on and creating this is it gives our students in Allendale a broader sort of marketplace, more job opportunities, broader businesses to draw from. I think the important thing to remember about this is that even though the Career Line Tech Center is putting this together and sort of leading this and facilitating it, this is for both Tech Center students and non-Tech Center students. And so it's just a great opportunity for our kids. And again, it's a better opportunity than we probably could have put together, as an individual district. So it's just a pooling of resources and good opportunity for our students.
I have a quick question, Garth, to put you on the spot here. As far as MHSAA and athletics and getting those high school credits, are the kids in jeopardy at all of losing playing sports through this program?
No, it's, so for a while they had eliminated the opportunity to have co-op. That's why it kind of went away, because they went with the Michigan Merit curriculum and there just wasn't that room in there for a co-op program. Then a few years ago they revised the legislation and allowed for this again, and so now students will they'll earn the same high school credit for this that they would, like if they went to the Tech Center.
Okay, all in favor of approving the work-based learning agreement as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same. Motion passes as presented. Item B, the high school field trip request for the Art Institute of Chicago. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve approve the high school field trip to the Art Institute of Chicago as presented.
Support. Support by Anna.
Yep, this is an annual trip that we really appreciate the art department putting together for students who are interested in going. It's a one-day trip, and they go, you have to have taken art, history, or literature to be qualified to go, but it's just one that some students really look forward to, and we've had great success with this trip in the past.
All right, all in favor of approving the field trip to the Art Institute of Chicago, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Motion carries as presented. Next, item C, all state honors for the choir field trip. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the MSVMA All-State Honors Choir Field Trip as presented.
Support.
Kevin, support.
So we've had some situations in the past where we kind of wait for auditions to take place, and then we find out if we had students qualify, and then the turnaround to get the overnight trip approved is a tight window. And so we're being pretty proactive here. This trip isn't until May, but we've had a tremendous program and a lot of success getting students to qualify for this, and so we'd like to get approval for this, and that's why it says bringing 3 to 5 students. We'll know more as we get closer who's qualified for it. But this just makes sure that we have board approval for a trip that we will most likely need.
Is there potential for more kids to make it?
I don't think so. Is Mrs. Jones still here? She might know. No, I don't think so. I think the range they give us is the number that we've had traditionally in the past. I don't think we've ever had more than 5.
All in favor of the All-State Honors Choir field trip, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Motion passes as presented. Item D, we have field trip to Camp Henry.
Motion to approve the annual trip to Camp Henry as presented.
Support.
Kim is fully obligated to support this trip since she has a 5th grader of her own.
She has been talking about it for 2 years.
This is a trip that we've traditionally taken, and it's been a great trip for our students. I can say that my daughter went last year and had an amazing time. The other thing I would point out to you is that the field trip request form we didn't notice until today. It was brought to our attention, where it says individual costs and then total costs. The total cost is $24,000 for the entire class, but it says individual cost $2,000. That should be $200. So if you look at that field trip, it's only $200 per student. So those of you who are trying to sell $2,000 worth of subs, you slow down a little bit. You only need to earn $200. But again, it's just a trip that's been really great for our kids, and our teachers do an amazing job with it. Mrs. Marsman's here, and yeah, it's something that our kids really get a lot out of. So,
Thank you. All in favor of approving the 5th grade field trip to Camp Henry, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Motion passes as presented. Letter E, middle school robotics team field trip. Can I have a motion, please?
Go ahead.
Motion to approve the robotics team field trip as presented.
Support.
Thank you, Kevin.
again, I believe this is a preemptive. The competition's in March. I don't know if they've had the qualifying for this one yet, but we've done really well in the past, so I think there's some anticipation there if they've not qualified yet. As you said, Mr. Patinsky does a great job with this group, and so I'd like to support them.
All in favor of the robotics team field trip to the U.S. Open Robotics Championship, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same. Motion carries as presented. Item F, first robotics field trip to the district competition.
Motion to approve the first robotics field trip to the district competition as presented.
Support.
So the last one was an out-of-state trip to Council Bluffs, Iowa. This one, the reason you're being asked for approval is because it's an overnight trip inside the state of Michigan to Standish, Michigan. Again, this one I know we're definitely going to, and we need approval for that.
Okay. All right, all in favor of the robotics field trip district competition in Standish, Michigan? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same. Motion passes as presented. G, first robotics field trip to Michigan Championship event in Saginaw, Michigan.
Motion to approve first robotics field trip to the Michigan Championship event as presented.
Support.
So this is a perfect example of that time turnaround. So they're going to compete March 16th through the 18th in Standish, Michigan. If they qualify for the Michigan Championship competition in Saginaw, it'll be April 5th. So it's just 2 weeks after, and that's why we try to preemptively approve these. So again, we'd like to get approval for that trip.
All in favor of the robotics field trip to Saginaw, Michigan? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same. Motion passes as presented. Or H, we have our first robotics field trip, the World Championship to Houston, Texas.
Motion to approve the first robotics field trip to the World Championship event as presented.
Support.
So if at Standish, they qualify for Saginaw, and then at Saginaw, they qualify for the Worlds, that would be 2 weeks after the Saginaw trip, and so we'd like to preemptively approve that. And just as a reminder, we had 3 different teams go to Texas last year to compete, so good chance we'll need to go. Yeah, the high school, middle school, and our Oakwood team actually all went to Texas last year, so.
All right. Excuse me. All right. All in favor of the World Championship event in Houston, Texas for the robotics team, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same. Motion passes as presented. Letter I, our 2022-2023 budget amendment.
I make a motion to approve the general appropriations resolution to amend the general fund budget for the 2022-2023 as presented.
Support.
So Mr. Park made a presentation at the work session last month. Scott, is there anything you'd like to follow up with on that?
There have been no changes to any of those numbers. The presentation is as it is. So this amends the general fund and the food service fund original budgets.
All right. And we will call the roll on this one.
Canada?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Here.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Holsteg?
Yes.
Mango?
Yes.
Ramey?
Yes.
Clearkettle?
Yes.
Motion passes as presented. All right. Next up, we will be moving to, if the motion passes, we'll be moving to closed session.
I make a motion to move to closed session for purposes of negotiation and personal issue discussion.
Support.
All right. So we will be moving to
Closed session, and then we'll come back into open session when the closed session's concluded.
all right.
Folks are welcome to stay here, but remember, we're live streaming, so just something to think about while you're in the room.
Okay.
Do we vote?
All in favor of Moving to closed session, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say the same. Moving to closed session as discussed.
We're going to go to the boardroom. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I thought at the bottom of it just said,
Session.
doesn't have the emotion on there?
I have a motion to reopen session.
I move to go to open session.
Support?
Next item on the agenda.
7:47. Is that okay?
A 7:47
Thank you.
PM. Thank you, Josh. Can I have a motion to approve the payment to Setseg?
I make a motion to approve the deductible payment to SEG for settlement costs.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Sorry, who supported it?
Did somebody second it?
Kevin made the motion, but I didn't hear anyone support it.
Oh, I thought I heard Liz. No. Liz, do I have support for that?
Sure.
I mean, it's a roll call vote because there's a payment.
Roll call.
Yeah, I was just
It's a roll call?
Be a roll call.
Okay.
Hendricks,
No.
Holsteg,
Yes.
Mango,
Yes.
Ramey,
No.
Clearkettle,
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Motion passes as presented. I have a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Can I have a second? Support? Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you.